The first African woman to drive a car. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti's journey to empowerment. In the early 20th century, the world was changing rapidly. Cars were revolutionizing transportation, but in Africa, they were rare and seen as luxuries for colonial officials or wealthy men. Driving was an unthinkable act for women, until one woman, Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti, dared to defy societal expectations and made history as the first African woman to drive a car. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti was born Frances Abigail Olufunmilayo Thomas in 1900 in Abeokuta, Nigeria. From an early age, she displayed a thirst for knowledge and independence that would define her life. Her parents, devout Christians, ensured she received a solid education, sending her to one of the few missionary schools in the area. Education for girls was rare in early 20th century Africa. However, Funmilayo excelled and became one of the first Nigerian women to study abroad. In England, she encountered modern ideas about women's rights, education, and equality, concepts she would bring back to Nigeria to challenge deeply entrenched norms. In the early 1900s, cars were symbols of status and modernity, introduced by European colonial administrators. They were seen as exclusive tools for the elite. For African women especially, the idea of driving was uncharted territory. Cars represented more than transportation. They symbolized freedom, power, and access to spaces traditionally reserved for men. Returning from England, Funmilayo was determined to embrace the modernity she had seen abroad. In the 1940s, she made history by learning to drive, a skill unheard of among African women at the time. Funmilayo's journey to becoming the first African woman to drive wasn't without its challenges. Learning to drive required courage, determination, and resources. Cars were expensive, and driving was seen as a male-only activity. Funmilayo, however, was undeterred. With her husband, Reverend Israel Ransome-Kuti, supporting her, she took driving lessons and became a competent driver. When she drove through her town for the first time, it wasn't just a personal achievement. It was a powerful statement against societal restrictions on women. People were shocked, inspired, and intrigued by this bold act of defiance. Driving a car was just the beginning. For Funmilayo, the car became a tool for her activism. She used it to travel across Nigeria, organizing women's unions, leading protests, and challenging unfair colonial taxes. Her driving symbolized mobility, not just physical, but social and political. Funmilayo founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, one of the most influential women's organizations in African history. Using her car, she connected women from remote villages, giving them a voice in a society where they had long been silenced. The movement eventually forced the colonial government to revoke oppressive taxes on women. Her activism didn't stop in Nigeria. Funmilayo became a global advocate for women's rights, representing African women at international conferences and working closely with leaders like Kwame Nkrumah. She showed the world that African women were not just witnesses to history, they were shaping it. Despite her success, Funmilayo faced significant backlash. Many questioned her decision to drive and accused her of abandoning traditional roles. Some even claimed she was too radical. But Funmilayo stood firm, knowing that breaking barriers often meant facing resistance. Her determination paved the way for countless African women to embrace their independence and redefine their roles in society. Today, Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti's legacy lives on. Her pioneering spirit continues to inspire African women to challenge stereotypes and embrace their full potential. Driving a car may seem ordinary now, but in her time, it was revolutionary, a symbol of courage, independence, and empowerment. Funmilayo Ransome-Kuti was more than a driver. She was a driver of change. Her story reminds us that sometimes changing the world begins with taking the wheel. What lessons do you take from Funmilayo's story? Share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of history and empowerment.